Welcome back to another episode of Fallout 76. Today we return as our series continues from the 3 hours of footage we were able to get over at the Greenbrier event. Again, huge thank you to Bethesda for inviting us out and flying us out to such a wonderful event where we did get early hands-on with Fallout 76, and that is exactly what you guys are seeing here. Make sure that you guys stay tuned as well, because we are actually doing a giveaway onto this series as it continues. Y'all can go ahead and enter it on every single video that is up. When Friday rolls around, we'll go ahead and pick a random Fallout 76 video starting with yesterday's video, and that will actually have a random comment from that random video, and Zet will be the winner of a copy of Fallout 76 for the winner's choice of any platform. So best of luck to you guys and gals with that. All that you gotta do is make sure you're subscribed, hit that like button on the video, and let me know down below anything. I'd love to hear maybe any questions you guys have regarding Fallout 76, maybe any comments, maybe you're hyped for it, what you're looking forward to, what you're not looking forward to, any of that type of jazz, because I just want to see what the hype is around the community. This is genuinely one of my most anticipated games, probably the most anticipated game for me of this entire year. It's one of my favorite series with the whole Fallout premise. I've been a huge fan of Fallout ever since Fallout 3, New Vegas 4, enjoyed every one of them, and then to have this open world and survival aspect along with multiplayer, of course, went ahead and like combined into it. It's just something super cool that I definitely cannot wait to go ahead and hop into. And as soon as that beta and full version of the game do come out, we will be going over and starting our more extensive full series from the very beginning. So a great reason to go ahead and stay tuned, because I'm becoming a Fallout 76 nut slowly but surely. But what you guys are seeing is a continuation of the last video that we did, where we actually stumbled across the Overseer's camp. And at this camp, we're actually a couple things to go ahead and get us started. We got a couple of workbenches here that I just want to go. I actually ran back. The group is a little bit ahead since we are playing in a group of 4. They are a little bit ahead down the road. I just want to go back and knock out a couple of these quests that are led. And well, this dev over here in a super stylish Argyle sweater was nice enough to join me, and I was nice enough to try to attempt stealing his power armor. But in Fallout 76, you can actually own power armor, which is what that dev had going on. I actually think this might be his base coming up over here, which is pretty cool. You guys can see it decked out with a bunch of defenses, has a couple of Vault Boy statues over in front, and there are some mongrels trying to attack us, but very cool to see another look at a possible base. We've actually seen at this point of the series a couple of bases leading up to this point, but up ahead we see why I wanted to catch up with the rest of my group. We are seeing an airdrop that is actually occurring up ahead. As soon as we can go ahead and deal with these little mutts over here, no better way than to use VATS a little bit and show off that wonderfulness. And well, we're also using the revolver, since we did manage to switch up our weaponry a little bit, and the revolver is definitely being a pretty trusty, although when there's all of these kind of smaller enemies running at us, it can be a little bit less efficient. That's for sure. I probably should switch over to melee, but I'm kind of like, guys, help me, I am attacked by rats. And I was hoping my group might be able to go ahead and come to my assistance, because I don't want to blow through all my ammo. I know, all 70 bullets of it running low, but check out what that government airdrop had within it, and that is why I wanted to catch up with my group, because they were going down the road. This is actually where the main quest line, which we are in the middle of doing here, we're continuing on, following it for just a little bit. It did continue down here, but I did see that airdrop down there, so I definitely wanted to head on over and make sure we cop that, because as you guys saw, it had some great resources within. There we got Moo Moo, Charlie the Moo Moo, along with legendary Graham, who we actually ended off last episode, trying to kill and blow to smithereens. Well, apparently his instant reaction was to tame Moo Moo over here, because when we saw him earlier, Moo Moo was not there, but now Moo Moo started following him, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe the Moo Moo just wasn't around before, but over here, we are making our way towards that very next quest. If you guys are looking at the bottom, you guys can see the radar, and over about like 60, coming up on 50 over here, points away, which I believe it's meters, we do have our next objective, to find the Overseer in Flatwoods. Now, if you guys don't want too many spoilers for the main game, no worries. You don't go too crazy with the main quest. We do actually go off on quite a bit of side adventures, actually, starting in this episode. Really, we just wanted to follow the main quest line for a little bit, because it does get you started with some basic blueprints, some basic supplies, and some basic weaponry and ammunition, which is actually, we tried sidetracking since the start, and turned out problematic. As you guys can see, we got that robot trying to talk to us, but over here we have the very next Overseer's log.
My God, there's no one here. The old tavern, the church, people were using them for shelter, but they're on. Mutations we expected. But there's something else. A disease. I was attacked by... Well, it used to be a person. But it had these green, glowing lesions, and its voice. Angry. Tortured. We are one. One what? Whatever happened here is beyond anything we expected. And we expected a lot. Before they were wiped out, the survivors called themselves the Responders. Looks like they were made of firefighters, police, emergency medical staff. They even have an automated system to teach people about treating water, food, survival. I'm doing their tests, and you should too.
Here, why not grab a stim
I
pack
know it's
for
even worse than
you?
we imagined, but someone's got to know where the missile silos are and how to secure them. The Responders are the best lead we have. This is the Overseer, signing off.
And there, as the main questline continues, it actually grants us with some very valuable background information among the setting of Fallout 76, since it's not like a conventional Fallout game where there's a lot of dialogue-heavy interactions with other characters due to the whole multiplayer world aspect, so a lot of it is actually built up through kind of just like quick conversations with NPCs, but holotapes. Holotapes, actually what I learned, they play a huge part in the story and what they do provide. However, it does only automatically play holotapes from the main story, otherwise you gotta play them on your own. So you guys can see we're getting a ton of quests started here. We actually just completed a quest that ended up netting us some very nice resources, which was nice, but that Overseer's log gave us kind of our first real taste into the background, the backstory of this ravaged world we have entered into in the year 2076 after the whole nuclear war and ensuing fallout. And apparently, oh, that's actually where we're going to be heading on over to as well. That is the goal. I don't remember the name. I think it's Wadaboga or Wagatoba. I'm very close. It starts with a W, but that town over there has some interesting stuff going. That is our ultimate goal, and that is where I'm trying to finesse my group. Like, yo, got a little cross-country road trip for us. Should run across a ton of things along the way, and we're definitely going to be doing that. So I'm trying to catch up with my group over here. We encounter a dev, mess around with him a little bit, but back to the backstory. We did get our first look into the first responders. That's kind of the first real faction we come across. We also had some ominous hints towards those enemies and like creatures or mutated humans that do have those green lesions all across their body. That is probably gonna be some kind of enemy. I wonder if that's the Scorched. For some reason in my mind, the Scorched are a little bit more on the orange side though, so I'm not sure if that's what they were talking about. That's just our dev buddy we were just encountering with. I'm trying to finesse him like, hey, come along, help us along our journey, but he didn't want to help us. He wanted to go have his own fun. Hey, I can't blame him, but our group is starting to head out. Let's go ahead and catch up with them. But in addition to that backstory from the last log, we did also learn about the missile silos, and I think this is the first time those have been hinted to as well. Those missile silos being the ones that ultimately can send the nukes. A huge feature of Fallout 76 that has been teased, and I believe the way it's going to work is the main story is kind of going to lead us along and introduce us to a lot of different mechanics Fallout 76. Oh my god, yeah, there's this massive horde of ferals just comes running down the street and attacks us, so our group has to take them out. What better way than high explosives. Over here I cocked back a grenade, running back a little bit. It wasn't super effective because they're chasing after us and stuff too. But yeah, I think the main story is kind of like going to serve the purpose of not just giving us background info, but also introducing us to a lot of those core gameplay mechanics. And I think it is going to lead up to those missile silos, as you heard the Overseer say, because that is kind of her mission, to secure the missile silos, and that's why we are following the first responders and hopefully learning more about them. We've actually seen a variety of dead first responders throughout the game. Leading up to this point, I don't believe we've actually found any living iterations of them, which is kind of a little interesting thing to go ahead and make note of just as our group does the journey up ahead. But as a quick heads up, yeah, we will be continuing that main story a lot more when we do have full access to the game. Over here, just gonna mess around and play around with the camp a little bit of the base building. So I guess we should focus on this a little bit. Well, it is popping up over here. If you guys want a more extensive video talking about this and detailing it, it should be popping up right around now. It should be like one of those annotations or cards you can go ahead and click on, where we go in depth and in detail regarding all the different things you could build and talk about building just a little bit more. But I am tempted over here to travel around. Our group's kind of like sitting back and doing some things. They're getting ready to venture out east, however, and we will be following suit with them and hopefully encountering a couple of cool things along the way, because as you're looking at the map, it's got a lot of those locations scattered throughout that, as we learn even later in this video, dude, the amount of like random quests and just things you could come across is amazing. And over there, as you guys saw in the background, that's the first time I really noticed that. There's that massive bridge over that like huge stretch of land. I was kind of thinking like, we should try and make our way up there. We don't make our way up there though, because we were a little bit limited, and ultimately my goal was to get to that southeast corner. There was so many more things I wish I could do, because that bridge looks wicked cool. It looks like it pretty much spans over two like mountains or something like that. It just like goes over this huge stretch of valley that we found ourselves within, and there's just so many of those like side quests and side treks I wish I could have actually gone off and ventured into. But for now, we're gonna venture into building up this camp, this time placing it down and beginning our first trek into building, where we are met with a couple of these basic foundations. You guys can see all of those tabs at the top. There's there's even more than what you're seeing right there too. We can actually hit right button and it just goes more and more. Like I'm saying, that video that goes a little bit more in depth about it is probably gonna be a better bet if you do want to know much more about base building. But for a taste of it, you guys can see the modular system that is in place for things like floors, for walls, for roofs. But in addition to that, as you guys should be seeing here in just a jiff, we do have a less modular system when it comes to putting down things like turrets and base defenses and whatnot. And over here, we should be encountering our very first turret that I am actually taking a peek over at the upper right hand corner. You guys can see a variety of things. The workshop budget. So each base that we do build does have an overall budget that each building contributes to. I'm not sure if those are linear or if certain things have more budget weight to them, where certain things are more quote unquote expensive. But whatever there is a budget that you do need to keep in mind. And over there, we already have a functioning turret. And as you guys can see, there is actually a little bit of a buffer. You can't place things too close to each other, which is what we are learning right over there. And scrolling through a couple more things, and actually going to be testing out the blueprint function that the game does offer at this stage, or actually at any stage really. And what that allows you to do is actually select a variety of items that you have built within the confines of your base and create a blueprint out of them. And that blueprint can then later on be utilized by yourself to go ahead and either maybe like, you know, put down a copy. Like let's say I built like a tower, for example, and I want to put another replica of that tower on like the other side of my base. This is one such use that this blueprint system has. It also has the use of maybe where you want to like move camps or something or relocate. Then you can actually kind of like configure and save your camp as a blueprint and more easily kind of go back to it. Maybe you want to like mess around with your camp. You know, you want to say like, oh, let's try out something totally new, but that totally new thing doesn't work. Well, if you have your old thing saved as a blueprint, you could pretty easily revert to it. Excuse the 360 no scope I had to do there. I'm just trying to find where my group is, and two of them actually ventured off a little bit further, but along the way we have this little camp over here that one of our buddies is at, and I'm like, let's definitely make our way over here and kind of dig into this just a little bit. We're not going to be able to get crazy in depth into what it offers. And again, that circles back to the fact that this was a limited play session. I just want to be able to show off as extensive of a stuff as possible when it comes to Fallout 76. Check out as much as we could. So while we didn't necessarily go super in depth into a lot of them, that is something that we definitely will be doing in the more full series over when the beta hits, over when the full version hits. So like I'm saying, make sure you're subscribed with that notification bell for when that time comes. Not to mention all the other dope survival games we are checking out on the channel, because I love me some survival. Let me just say, and over here we got our buddy actually, well, we got, I don't know if he killed Sergeant Gutsy there. I think Gutsy may or may not have died, but he's actually interacting with a vending machine. As we've actually, I think this is the second one we've encountered so far. They are just in random locations throughout the world, doing a little bit of lock picking, trying to get that good stuff, but they are present through a variety of locations. They are, like, in this situation, you guys can see it's kind of like more one-off. It's just like a single ammo vending machine, but then in some instances, such as like maybe if you build them up at your own base, or if you come across like a bit more of like a settlement, a robot settlement, which we actually do a little bit later, you guys can actually find a lot of like more concentrated things where it's a bigger variety of vending machines and even concentrations of different types of workbenches you can use. So while the settlements aren't inhabited with humans necessarily, they are inhabited with like vending robots, vending machines, and they do make for some pretty cool stuff. One very noteworthy one we're actually gonna be hopping into in the very next episode, so keep your eyes and ears peeled, boys and girls. But for now, we are exploring and seeing what this little camp has to offer, and well, so far nothing but a variety of junk and a little bit of a back door and some cool looking obstacle courses, not to mention a terminal that caught my eye. And this terminal reveals to me that these are actually active training areas you could do. I try to begin it, unfortunately you actually need to register, and that makes me believe that this is actually part of an entire quest line that you're able to do in this area. They literally have like little obstacle courses you gotta do, which is gonna be so cool to check out. We got a robot. And not to mention over here, a couple of plans, but another Overseer's log. And we weren't even trying to find it at this point.
Overseer's log. Camp McClintock. Maybe I'm going crazy, but it was nice to put on the uniform and play pretend with a bunch of robot drill sergeants. I actually think I learned a thing or two about marksmanship. I wonder, now that I'm in the Army, is my official title Overseer Private or Private Overseer?
Nice.
Oh, time to see if I can fool a few automated identification systems.
Little interesting thing to note from that last little tidbit she said. Actually, a couple of interesting things. First off, the fact that the Overseer came through this camp and we accidentally stumbled upon this quest that has this quote-unquote following the Overseer's journey, which makes me think that maybe we, weren't necessarily supposed to come across this, but we did, and we're kind of gonna potentially be able to uncover a journey. It doesn't really give us a sense of direction as to where we should be going to find her next log, for example, but we do have that overarching mission to follow her journey. But then she started talking.
Well, what do we have here?
Me.
In the holy name of, you are out of uniform, cadet. And with no uniform voucher, you will return in army fatigues and helmet, or you will not return at all.
I think he's a little salty we aren't in uniform, but she brings up this security clearance, which makes me wonder if you complete this course, this quest line available over at Camp McClintock, if it actually will allow you to have like gain something at other areas or something along those lines. Over here, we're actually at the part of the quest where they want us to go and get a uniform, but like I was saying, I didn't want to spend too much time in any single area. Our time was limited, so we do decide to go ahead and start heading out because our group was starting to get pretty far ahead, and I'm not gonna lie, over the comms, because while you guys can't hear me talking live as it was going on as the game's happening, we did have headsets hooked up to like one central audio that like we could communicate with each other, and they were coming across some crazy things. So I'm like, Camp McClintock, I'm sorry, I must leave you. But like I was saying, we will return and we'll be taking deeper dives into a lot of these areas. They won't be as shallow when the beta comes out later this month and the full version comes out later this year. Actually, next month on top of that. Yeah, it's already October, dude. That's crazy to think. Just getting into a little bit of combat here as per usual with our lovely revolver and checking out what we can't loot up. But yeah, so make sure you guys do stick around for that because we're going to be playing an unhealthy amount of this game. For now, we were limited to those 3 hours, but there's going to be a lot more happening, and I'm going to be a lot more willing to go in depth into these areas and fully quest like a proper Fallout title. You should be involving because, I mean, just from wandering around, take a peek at that upper right-hand corner. We've already wandered across a couple of quests, not to mention all the random like miscellaneous quests that do pop up, kind of like the mini quests that are like a single task, and we already have like a variety of like, multi-step map like quest lines, like actual like proper quests. You know what I mean? Obviously, we have the main quest that's kind of like overarching and central throughout the game, but we have stumbled across a couple of those side ones, which are just very cool to see, and we will be taking deeper dives into those. But I just kind of wanted to explain my justification for a couple of these things, because I do want to check out all the different towns the game has to offer, all the different locations, and all the different craziness, because as we continue going east and southeast to that location, the game difficulty ramps up, and we do start taking a look at higher level areas, higher level weaponry, and dude, just some crazy things that you're like, dang, dude, wasn't expecting that. Over on the left, you guys actually saw a couple of mirelurks chilling along the river bank, but I'm like, nah, I'm trying to catch up to these dudes at this point. Oh, what up, super mutants? We got those guys we got to worry about, but at this point, they're talking about, like, I think a boss battle going on over up the hill that we're heading our way towards. Actually got a challenge completed as well. Got a nice little level up that we will be applying. And we can even fast travel to events from your map, as you guys are seeing popping up in the upper left-hand corner. But check it out. We just got a new miscellaneous quest just from wandering through town. Miscellaneous, find jukeboxes to bring the music back to Summersville, which is, I'm pretty sure, the location we're at right now. So it's just, like I'm saying, man, there's just so much that, as much as I would have loved to go super in depth to each of them, that will be something that we will be doing when the beta comes out, which we are going to be all over. Just want to really reiterate that fact. But back to what I was saying with the Overseer and the things she was bringing up back over at in her log at Camp McClintock. She said that she got like some sort of security clearance from participating in that training, and it makes me wonder if completing that training yourself will give yourself some sort of like security clearance that you can then utilize at some random point, maybe like throughout random locations in the area, or maybe in a specific quest. Maybe the specific quest takes you over to that side quest to get military clearance to go ahead and move forward with something. And that's just Fallout in all of its Fallout goodness. When all of these random things kind of like intersect, you find yourself going on random journeys and shooting at random super mutants, not to mention with the help of vets. And I don't know, the percentages are pretty low when you're far away, so I go ahead and make sure to move up so those percentages go up. Once I get close enough, I realize, oh, there's rainbows on the ground. This place is probably flammable. So in primal instinct fashion, like the pyromaniac I am, you know I had to do it to him. And, well, there's also a barrel over there that blows up, but, there's also a car that had a way bigger explosions, kind of as a secondary one right there. But Camp McClintock is definitely something we're going to be doing when the full game or even the beta comes out, because I hate that I had to run away from it, but I didn't want to get too caught up in just one area. I do kind of want to, in this little preview event from the limited time we have, go over and explore as much as we humanly can. But that is definitely on the to-do list when we can play this in the comfort of our own home at our own pace, record and upload as much as we wish. Oh, chef, you betcha. There's gonna be a whole ton of this type of jazz going up. But for now, our squad is just up this hill as we're gonna be wandering into this new area known as the Savage Divide through this beautiful hill slash mountainside. That's actually, that's one thing about this game. It's Fallout, but it's in West Virginia, where the nuclear fallout and blasts weren't as concentrated, and as you guys are seeing, a lot of vegetation survived, and it's absolutely beautiful to see. Not to mention a dried up lake over there with some sort of town or settlement in the beginning. Definitely gonna be checking that out in the full game, like I was saying, or even just the beta. At this point, I'm just calling the beta the full game too, because I think our progress from the beta will transfer to the full version, so there's a whole ton of Fallout goodness coming. So that's definitely on the to-do list, on the bucket list of places to check out. But with that said and with that done, that's gonna start wrapping up for this episode of Fallout 76 footage from the Greenbrier event. Can't wait to continue. This puppy's going daily, so make sure y'all stick around. Not to mention, as soon as we're out of footage for this, no worries, when that beta comes out, when the full version comes out, even more daily goodness, maybe even double daily goodness, depending. But that's gonna wrap it up for me for now. Thank you guys a whole ton for watching. Episode's an awesome one. I'll talk to you next one. See ya.